Looks like the switches need to be turned to match, so enough. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Conserve your wind. Take matters back into your own hands. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. He says that's enough scripts to sustain the Mekton's claw crane cannon with infinite ammunition. Well done. That's the special weapon he made to store the scripts in the Mekton. It will be strong enough to launch them at the Jumbo Puff. Gizmo's made vehicles before to confront the Jumbo Puff himself, but failed. But this time, it's different. The Mekton will be strong enough to do the job. It's time to put a stop to the World Eater now, otherwise he fears the damage it's caused to the tree already will be too much to handle. He asks you to not even think about taking on the Jumbo Puff on foot. You'll need the Mekton to do the job, take his word for it. There's time to improve the Mekton before you confront the Puff. There are more wreck boxes out in the dead zone with gear you should be able to equip the Mekton with on your own. He got the idea to build the Mekton when he found a big crate containing the metal frame for something Toxanol had named an exoskeleton. Gizmo wants to help if he can. Says there's an interesting place nearby that no one knows about, but doesn't really want to talk about it right now. Not sure if you're likable enough to be let in on it. Says you look trustworthy. Might as well tell you where it is. Says the Tree of Life connects all creation. Wouldn't be surprised if you met again. Gizmo wants to help if he can. Wishes you goodbye. Embrace the day. Nailed it. Half-lifed. The best stories are about heroes. This is such a story. Stick in the key. Everyone loves a good hat. You hardly ever see those. Finders keepers. Could this thing steer itself? Grab tight and don't let go. Let's see. This place is S-Mart, home of a notorious thingamajig broker. Let's see. You found Bionucleus 8C. These towers are one of the main reasons the old world went under. We're all heroes of our own stories, or so we hope. Let's see. You sound a little wheezy. Is your nose bleeding? That's a jumbo puff with an appetite. Ain't no fuzz. Better put an end to it before it ends our world. Uh-oh. The jumbo puff is kicking it up a notch. It's time for an electric performance. Bad feeling about this. It goes all the way down to the stomach. Start like a snack, and you'll end up with a ride down the intestinal canal. That's too close to the end station. Look at you, all pooped out. From this point on, there's no way forward but going back in. That's too close to the end station. Better move up. Better pumped out than flushed down. Don't let it happen again. Wow, what a super-sized worm wimp. That must be as big as they come. You see, it's what's on the inside that counts. That meaty Taurus is already offbeat. End it. The Taurus is pumping, and who would have guessed it would go down with a throw-up? Can it really get any better than that? He thanks you for dealing with the first World Eater. It's a start. You should go see Out of Date and find out what you can about the machine he's named the Ark. You're good-hearted enough, so you'll have no problem getting him to share the information with you. He trusts you know where to find Out of Date by now. He's always been at the foot of the tree, and that hasn't changed. Hard and sharp. Couldn't be better. So much fun to sneak around here. That's an intact plant hut over there. Wonder what's growing in it. On the ropes. Nice. Some barked wood scrap for you. This story is as powerful as you'll let it be. Gizmo will always make time for you. Understands you have other places you need to go. This region is known as the Knupstonies. You can't find a harder place in the world. It's a glory shiny day out here. Bionucleus 4J. Toxanol should never have built these to start with. Let's see. There's the Sovereign who runs this outpost. He didn't expect his outpost to be invaded. Not sure if you're likable enough to just give up the outpost without a fight. The outpost belongs to your... He says you made them weaker, but they won't give up. Your Sifu thanks you. Your tribe is growing stronger. They all hope you... No time to graze, let's go. They've been waiting for you, taking control. You better be. A tribe's fort is a bigger challenge than an outpost. Explains that it's a type of catapult that uses a long arm to propel a projectile, or in your case, a gutsy, hard-hatted head. Heads up, that's Peak Spot, a great place to watch the world from. Who knows who might be watching you? That's something. A ring dinger from the yesterdays. A thingamabob used to pling signal the faraways. Let's find out if it still works. Knock it all around. You're in pain. Don't get distracted by all the destruction you can see this time of day. Seems the keys need to be in sequence to make the ring dinger work. Just a few moves left. Make them count. So, the technology from yesterday's is still here today, even if its message is getting old. Is your mount paying attention? This might be the end of everything as well. It's time to set the rival tribe free. You need to unite the tribes and save the Tree of Life to truly become free. That's a fire starter. The dry grass looks like it would ignite easily. You just need to create a spark to light a fire. It burns brighter than the light. Hot smoke. Itchy trigger finger. Your destiny waits on the path you'll take to avoid it. Beefed up. The battering bonker looks like a great way to get through the gate. Bet you just need to knock and it'll open up? That's bonkers. The NETRA tribe values liberty and is striving to protect freedom. They want to continue with each tribe being responsible for their own and believe that uniting the tribes is the only way you can survive. He was hoping it wouldn't end this way. There's no reason to fight instead of... He recognizes the strength of a good argument and agrees it's for the best. He'll give up the fort to you. The rival Sifu is defeated, and the destiny of their tribe is in your hands. You are He'll leave it up to you to decide the fate of the rival Sifu, but suggests you be merciful. Thinks it's a good gesture to... And with that, you're side by side they'll stand until order and stability is reinstituted. He's gotten news that the other tribes have realized there are no winners in this war. There's no purpose in antagonism.
What?
All three of them believe your tribe has grown strong enough to unite them. It's clear your efforts have been successful. There's light at the end of the tunnel. The tribes are tired of war and will remember the one who brought them peace, whether you decide it'll be now or later. So, do you want to end the war now or continue the crusade? He agrees. Better save your energy for something meaningful. It's the NETRA claw chain. How do you get from here to there? There it is, the tree of life. The idea that all life is related by common descent, where the twigs are existing species and those produced in the past represent the succession of the extinct. The tree's great branches were once budding twigs, a connection between the past, present, and future. A representation of all extinct and living species with its ever-branching and beautiful ramifications. We are an evolution of those that came before. It's so active out here with the light. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility. He can sense that your heart beats steadily and acknowledges that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without root. It's important to stay grounded. You share the same fate as the tree. Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone. Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things. If you continue to do good, good will follow you. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark. He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive. He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core. The contamination disrupted what we now know as Ki energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate. He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head. He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground. The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out. The Ark has room for 4 more, and he trusts you'll apply wisdom to your compassion and choose whom to save if the world comes to end. He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm. Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy. Out of Date says that even though he's unsure about your intentions, he hopes you'll support Goop. He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Goop and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The Porkypuff needs to be handled. Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast World Eater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that he wonders what's on your mind. Says you should take it easy. Let's see. Be careful. Ooh, a biohazard like that can make you real sick. Gulpo ain't the easiest tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can... He knows he's easy to remember. There's no one out there as cuckoo as him. He's one of a kind. Goop says our memory keeps things for us and protects them until we are ready to face them again. He understands you've returned to face Lupa-Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the... He thinks that's the right thing to do. It's only when...
Light instantly banishes dark.
How much light do you really need?
All the light, all of it!
I mean, you could leave a little space for the dark.
All the light.
Says life on the goo is wide open. You have so many choices of where to go. Some harder than others, of course. Which kind do you like? Best to stick close to the shore then, where the goo isn't so deep. That's like being close to your friends who can help when things... Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. Claims he didn't say that out loud. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. You're lucky that way. There's still cargo left on the shores from before the apocalypse. His best guess is a power tanker hit a reef and went under. It's flat out black out there. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Break it down. Breaking bones. New days always start with hope. Oxanol's offshore drilling caused oily matter to spread with the... You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Let's see. He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There's debris floating around on the surf that might be blocking your path or needs to be towed. That means you'll need a device so you can get it out of your way. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks. Squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. That's... There's no reason to think this might explode. You're poking around Pockbur, a prime village. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Points out that he's hungry too, but always thirsty for more. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. You'd be doing him a liquid solid. You're a do-gooder, so you know you want to. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you... Sure, but that's nowhere near as quick and easy. Who wants to stop to chew? Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you always try to help, no matter that the world's fate is hard to swallow. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The Glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without it, the drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts. Figures he wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Never need to not swim again. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. stories keep moving whether you drive them or not. That's shutting good. Smashly dash. That's some heavy-duty hardware. You're such a luckster. Gonna need a key of some kind. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. No one can swim this fast. Blaster faster. Maybe do that again later. Gulp says he'll bibble anything once, as long as it's drinkalicious, even rocket fuel. He once mixed up some tankers and drank that. That leads him to the bottom of that particular... He's not in a state to go looking, so he's counting on you to help. Go find him a tanker truck and bring back some of that precious radium syrup. Please. Thinks you're not the only one who... What were we talking about again? Got to love how a Googlite goes. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlite flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. He seems happy to talk. Has Plint? Looks good. How weird do you want to get? Nothing's more important right now than this. You've got nothing left. Metal ride. See that broken boat over there? Looks like it still floats. Check out that day. It's the porky-puff nibbling bug. It took quite a liking to the crunchy stuff after munching down out-of-date's leg. The boom ball and tow it beneath the puff. Vroom, vroom. Ready to live at your own speed. It smells like surf, all right. As long as you're happy about it. Ah, the freedom of the open surf. Tread soft. That's a monster nest, if ever I've seen one. You're not ready for that yet. It's the porky puff nibbling bark. It took quite a liking to the crunchy stuff after munching down out-of-date's leg. Hook the boom ball and tow it beneath the puff. The quacks. Ain't that cute? The two big playing with quacks. Can you feel it? It's the brisk wind of change. Don't let this opportunity slide. to come back kiddling. He thanks you for dealing with another World Eater. You're halfway there. He's got word out of date spotted Lupin and has a feeling your time has come. He hopes you're up for it. Just head back to the foot of the tree. Fingers crossed Lupin will stay put until you're there. You really need to go. Got word you found the greatest glider of all. An Can't imagine. Funny. Wonders if...
So, what we have here is an opportunity to help your next.
Why? You don't need anyone else but...
If you want to...
But you know you can't go on without me.
Feels thrilled to snag a seat in your ark. Can't wait to glide through the sky. Good. Understands you have other places. Give it a little pat. Go on. The air gets stale down here fast. Out of Date says the time has come for you to reconcile with your past. Looper, even though darkness is a part of your nature, he suggests you try to keep your cool, as the best fighter is never angry. He'll point you in the right direction, but the rest is up to you. This part of the journey is one you'll have to do on your own. Lupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains. Out of Date hopes you'll... He knows he said it before, but the time has come to put an end to the Lupin's reign of terror. You should get over there. Come face to face with destiny. It's going to be you against the Lupin. No rules. He's happy. Tread carefully here. This is Lupin's camp. You're here for a reason. It's up to you to figure out what that is. Lupin says he's been looking forward to this moment. He wanted you to come here and see for yourself where it all started. He was so little when your mother and kin came here to put an end to his mother just because she was different, a hunter. That night, the hunter became the hunted, trapped with nowhere to run. He says your mother showed no mercy. Only vengeance. He can see that you're not like your mother. There's something different about you. Maybe you would have made a better decision than she did, and let them be. They orphaned him, left him alone, an outcast and a freak. Lupin says he's been reliving the moment every night since then. He says your mother and her disciples started something that couldn't be undone. They created the monster he would become. He knew his time would come, and he was patient. So, when he got news about your birth, he knew how to get revenge that would last. That's why he spared you that night he raised the village when you were a child. He wanted you to suffer for life, like he had. He marked you for life, so he'd recognize you when you met again, and you'd eventually remember where you came from.
Just so.
His hunger grew insatiable over the years to come. He tried, but being vegetarian wasn't in his nature, and he couldn't go hungry. But he's never taken a life for the sake of appetite. It's always been about survival, and that our true self is being who we are. A deep look into nature will make you understand everything better, and that natural selection eliminates, and the strongest survive.
No.
Fate is for those too weak to determine their own destiny, and now the time has come for you to accept yours.
Good hit. Bangarang. All fired up.
You seem to have made a new friend.
Pojubut Paigatawa, Hikobe. Ifari Kobo Farmu.
Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy.
Ayamu Aya Tolu Keta. Ya Wawanaway.
He says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Noko in the east.
Tuluya. Uto Lula. Chintwata Moti Huasa.
Out of Date says that even though he's unsure about your intentions, he hopes you'll support Noko.
Udenu Kununyofubo Wesa Gono.
He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Noko and making sure she gets what she needs is up to you. That doesn't sound good. Out of Date was spot on. The hoof puff needs to be stopped.
Fofo Umbak Bakwa Papa Mu.
Out of Date says that Noko is worried now that the Eastern World Eater is stepping up its activity.
Tolomawanya Nuka Nuburak.
He explains that Noko keeps a fabled steed that she has planned to ride out to the World Eater, but needs help to get it prepared. Out of Date suggests that you should head east as fast as possible and see what you can do to help.
Fabube Muk Kofar.
He's happy to help.
Beboko Kontabe.
Hopes to see you again soon. It's a fine way to ride. Not for the faint, Chopper. Let's see. That place there's a real fixer-upper, not an entirely lost cause. It only gets weirder from here. King! They used to call this a thoroughfare. Look at all those old homes. Where are the control sticks on this thing? A duel. What a blow! Running low. Right between the eyes. This place is called Brightlight. Mito lives close by.
Sei Kandum.
Let's see. The shadows are only getting longer. Ah, the Gnote pen. Noko never leaves this place. She's always put the living things first. Nooks isn't an easy language, but at least it's manageable. She says she is so happy to see you again. She wonders if you remember her. She's Noko. She let you ride her Majut when you were a kid. Noko remembers you used to chase around with so much energy and is glad to see you haven't lost any of that spark. But that's all long gone now, though. Memories show us where we've been, not where we're going. Believes everyone needs direction in this. Noko remembers those days too, but she never lets herself wallow in them. no matter how tempting that can be.
Masammal, Kanamunta, Monidasa.
She sees your back to buck with Lupin. Can't see how there's any way to avoid that now. Not for long, at least.
Inyavaldu, Kialdu, Male Canodo.
She says the horrors of your younger days were enough to ruin anyone, but not you. You've got all that cheer about you still.
Kanamunt, Asil Natu, Kialdu, Male Canodo.
Noko says history is like the trail you've been on.
Berry?
Then you are stronger than her. She can't help wanting Lupin to pay for what he did to her Gnotes, despite the fact it's against her nature.
The light shines on!
Yes, break it in half. Crack that light.
It's just a break, a short pause.
A break, as in broken.
This can be fixed.
Anora Kapapum, Kialdu, Male Canodo.
Asks how many paths you've wandered in the world, and if you ever wonder about what might have changed if you'd taken different ones.
Ariaroche nui mumera, Berry Asana Yotpa, Brumblera Marsamon.
So happy the world is going to live, would have been crushed to see all the Gnotes die with it.
Brumblera Marsamon. Asana Yotpa.
Likes that you stood up for the world and spurred your way toward helping it out.
Amu.
Glad you saw the light with the myriad. They always bring a sparkliness to any day. And
Tukonda.
says that's only for a little while, and when your eyes clear, you see everything even better than before.
Amu.
But let's not speak of that now.
Anaro Lote.
She has an idea where the Majut might have gone, as there's no other place it likes as much as its own corner of the open wild. She's even named it the Majut Meadow.
Minalagi Mamuru. Asadurutu.
The Majut will recognize the scent you've attracted while being here, so it'll probably trust you enough to follow you.
Masammal.
You should lead the Majut back here when you find it. It's going to...
Masammal. Anaro Lote. Ariaroche nui mumera.
She's sad that something as wild as the hoof puff can't be tamed, but has to come to terms with the fact that you need to stop it. Let's see. Growl it into a higher gear. Found the Majut Meadow. Watch out for the Majut. Took care. The deep cut. Oh, wouch. That's going to leave a mark. Bang, bang. Flex up. Don't let yourself get fuzzily. Now that the Majut is back in the pen, it seems calm, but Noko is still concerned. She says the Majut is still anxious, but fortunately she knows just the thing it needs to calm down. She says that you should find some bonbon gummies for the Majut by the crossway. At least, that's where she found some last time. It's easy to describe. A crossway is where roads meet in a knot and merge. This one is in Sector 7J, if you're familiar with Out-of-Date's map. A crossway. This means you have a choice to make. Which way? Yeah, the future is in your hands, so take care of it. Like walking down a trail. No going back. Lockety-locked. The cranks like these usually need to be wound to operate the dispenser. What you see is what you get, once it's out of the blind box, that is. You flick the switches in order to greenlight the current and activate the electrons in the panel. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. The loop is electrified enough to spark. Better to be on top of a mount than standing behind it.
Bromblele marsamon.
With its attention diverted to the chewy bonbon gummy, the Majut calms down. But Noko is still concerned.
Bromblele marsamon. Ingavaldo.
She's relieved the Majut has calmed down, but you'll need a heavier sit-tight to ride it than the one she's got. The only sit-tight she can think of that would be heavy enough is one she's spotted mounted on an old-world mecha-Majut. If she remembers correctly, she spotted it at the Smilo shopperia while scavenging for treats for the gnotes. That seems the old world had plenty to offer, an all-in-one place for those obsessed with material things. Almost too much, if you ask her. You finally found the village of Bumlidoff. Seemed like this night might never end. The Smilo shopperia. Guess shopping here put a smile on your face. Hack and slash. Boxes like this are just a few moves left. Make them count. As the iBox broadcasts, it's hit or miss, but when it does hit, it's usually right in the fields. Locked, but good. Bolted shut. Gross. This place stinks. Up for grabs. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Such a windswept place. Now, you need to loosen the bolts without rattling the Mechamajut. Just a few moves left. Make them count. That's it. The sit-tight is loose. Time to stop horsing around and get the sit-tight back to Nocco. We are lonesome. Now that the Majut's got a mouthful of Bon gummy and the brand new sit-tight is in place, the Majut is ready to ride. Nocco's been training another fantabulous little critter that'll hopefully become a distraction for the hoof puff when you confront it. She's called them glitter moths, and the best way to find them is to go talk to Mito. She's asked him to keep them somewhere safe. You'll find Mito at Bright Light. He's a light-headed fellow, but she's noticed the front teeth seem to be a little loose, so you might be able to pull them out with the pull hook. Nothing. Let's see. With the world getting darker by the day, there's not much time left to save it. And even though you've just hopes says he can see that in the way you brighten everything up. Whatever happens to the world, you shone as bright as you could. That matters more than you know. Says you did the right thing in taking up with the Myriad. They buy lots of his lamps. That's a tribe that believes in the bright things in the world. It's clear you do. Nothing shines as bright as being right. Says he can see by the twinkle in your eyes that you're not here to talk about your allies. He assumes you are here to be enlightened. He can't blame you, as everything just feels dark and hopeless these days. There's something about you, like you're knit together. Your fate's connected. What you've said, he feels too. So, why not call him Me Too? He senses you're like the dayfly, living every day like it's your last, afraid that when night comes, it might be proved right. Believes no one is entirely dark. Even the worst have a spark of good in them. Mito says he's not only into those who shine bright, he likes things that glitter, too. He reckons you haven't seen a glitter moth, and says it's about time you did. Even though they're nesting near gone grass, they never run out of glow. Finding yourself a glitter moth would give you that glimmer of hope you need to continue all the way to the end. Glows with delight at your bright passion for the light. It's a game of life, yours and everyone else's. The mount's ears are not handles. The world is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Glittermoth Cave is right here. Wonder what you could make with that. You found Camp Mosserk. Look for the bandits. This story...
Kanyalan Toro.
That's enough glitter moths to make her plan work.
Ferena Masalapu.
She wants you to stop worrying about the paths you've ridden and focus on the inevitable road ahead, the one that leads to confrontation with the World Eater. The hoof puff is evidence of the duality of evolution, utterly beautiful and grotesque at the same time. She means that the hoof puff has had more time to eat at the root as it's been isolated in the Knoopstonies mountains. So, based on that alone, she reckons it... The rocky ridges have been called the Knoopstonies around here for as long as she can remember. It's said the stone was great. Much harder to see outside now. Good ridey beast, no hurty. At least you can feed this ride grass. That sealed the fate of the third World Eater. Just one more to go. Out of Date asked to see you again to congratulate you and let you in on the final phases of his plan. This is your chance to get his priorities aligned with yours. Do right by your tribe and the world at large. Just head back to the Ark. He seemed eager to see you again. She wonders if the rumors she's heard about you finding the Ark are true. She's thrilled you found one. There's nothing you can't do. With the world recovering, the Ark would be a wonderful way to see it. So much faster than even her favorite Gnotes. Loves that you did your best to help the world rather than hurt it. You could have used much more of that, even before you returned. Any idea who might be joining you on your Arky journeys?
So, what we have here is an opportunity to help your next.
Why? You don't need anyone else but yourself.
If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go further, go together.
But you know you can't go on without me. Even if I'm bad company, I complete you.
I think we can finally agree on something. It is better to be alone than in bad company.
Feels deeply honored that you'd want her to come with you. An Ark is no Gnote, but she can't pass this up. She's coming aboard. Noko knows she's known for saying things over again. Understands you have things to do.